Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is for you. Wherever you happen to be right now, this is episode number 11 of the ResultsMatter podcast. I'm Mike Voorhees, and I help business leaders, entrepreneurs, and sales professionals become measurably more successful. Today, I'm going to talk about daylight savings time. As I record this episode of the ResultsMatter podcast, it's the first day of Daylight Savings Time 2021. But don't worry, this discussion is relevant whenever you're listening. So, what the heck does daylight savings time have to do with business? I've got no idea, friends. But it's a great reminder and a great time to examine how we're using our most valuable and only non-renewable resource, our time. I think we need a little perspective, so let's explore. Quick ask before we jump in. Friends, mark your calendar. My new book is set to be released on March 28th, just 2 weeks from this recording. The book is titled Complain or Compete: Creating an Unfair Advantage in a Tough Labor Market. The ebook is currently available for pre-order on Kindle, and the paperback and hardcover versions will be available on March 28th. We'll throw more information down in the show notes. So, it's day one of Daylight Savings Time 2021. Here we go. So, daylight savings time. First, let me start out by saying I think this annual event gets way too much credit. There's way too much complaining, and for most people, it's really not that big of a deal. Still, every year folks talk like their life is being completely upended because while they're sleeping, our man-made method for keeping time, it skips an hour. You know the routine. The week after, everyone talking about how tired they are because they lost an hour of sleep. They're just trying to adjust, they'll say. It's quite silly, really. Or is it silly that we're not paying every other hour in the year just as much attention as this one? Imagine if we placed the same importance on every other hour in our day, our week, our month, and our year. I mean, that's what daylight savings time's real impact is, a single hour, 1 hour. So, some perspective. If a single hour is so darn important, maybe we should act like it all the time. Time is our most valuable and only non-renewable resource. We keep a reminder of this on VorheesBusiness.com website. There's 24 hours in a day, 168 hours in a week, 730 hours in a month, and 8,760 hours in a year. You can't make more time, but you can make sure you're getting the most out of every hour. Time really is our most precious asset and resource. One of my big pet peeves is when someone says they don't have time to do something. What's worse, there's not enough hours in the day, they'll say. I'm sure I've even mumbled this garbage a time or two myself. Hey, these excuses flow to our lips without much thought as to what we're really saying. Let's be clear, though. If we don't do something, it's not because we don't have time. We all have the exact same 168 hours in the week, and look at all the amazing things being accomplished in this world. We all have the same amount of time as Elon Musk, the founder, CEO, CTO, and chief designer of SpaceX. Musk is also the CEO and product architect of Tesla. And when he's not working on those two companies, he has several other lesser-known brands that he's involved in. All in the same 168 hours that you and I have available to us. A few more: Tim Cook, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, you, me. We all have the same amount of time each week, but we have different priorities and different levels of time management ability, in all fairness. A COVID-19 vaccine was created, tested, mass-produced, and widely distributed in less than a year. Less than a decade after the first manned spaceflight, 3 American astronauts went to the moon, 2 of them touching its surface, and all 3 returning home safely. That was in 1969. Today, it's 2021. Think about how quickly we've gone from having no internet to it being such a big part of our lives as we know it today. Consider how quickly technology has evolved with cell phones, automobiles, video conferencing, and so much more. All of these amazing accomplishments are happening in the same 168 hours that's available to you and I. The people who are actually changing the world are doing so only having 168 hours in each week. What if we make as big a deal out of every hour as we do the one single hour that we lose in the middle of the night on the second Sunday in March? Maybe all the fuss surrounding daylight savings time isn't silly. Maybe it's the lack of fuss around the other 167 hours that we should be worried about. It's thought-provoking, if nothing else, is it not? So here's my challenge for you this week. Take a close look at how you spend your time. Be deliberate and intentional in how you use each hour. Examine your priorities. They say that if you look at how someone spends their money and their time, you'll be able to identify their real priorities, and I agree. This is so true, friends. And it can be really eye-opening during self-examination. Truth is, most of us could be accomplishing so much more in a lot less time if we just be intentional about how we spend our most valuable and our only non-renewable resource, our time. All right, quick episode today with a quick takeaway and hopefully a useful message for you. Hey, why not use the start of daylight savings time as a good time to reevaluate how you're spending your time? Thank you so much for listening today to the Results Matter podcast. I hope you found this quick episode helpful, and I hope it got you thinking a little bit. If you enjoy the show, would you please subscribe and share the podcast with others? It'll really help us get this content to more people who could really benefit from it. Remember, March 28th, my new book, Complain or Compete: Creating an Unfair Advantage in a Tough Labor Market, comes out. I'd be truly honored if you'd grab a copy. If you read on Kindle, there's a pre-order going on right now on Amazon. Paperback and hardcovers will be available on March 28th. For updates on the book release and to get free business coaching delivered right to your inbox, be sure to sign up. We'll throw a link to do so in the show notes. Again, the name of the book is Complain or Compete: Creating an Unfair Advantage in a Tough Labor Market. I think business leaders are sure to find a few things that they can use in the book. I hope you'll check it out. The Results Matter podcast is a production of Voorhees Business Solutions. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, visit VoorheesBusiness.com. Friends, thank you so much for listening today to the Results Matter podcast.